Look at the $4 premium in silver to the LBMA and the COMEX price that we've seen forever on the Shanghai exchange, which over the last 100 days, the volume has increased nearly 200%. And the combined volume of the Shanghai Metals and Futures Exchange now supersedes the COMEX, making it the number two most transacted platform on the planet behind the LBMA. We're beginning to see that these exchanges are getting more and more legitimate. And at some point, the Western system will be viewed for what it is, a Ponzi scheme. You can only manipulate a market or push a market in the direction that it is going for an extended period of time by pushing in the direction it's going. You can't hold back global demand, and especially global demand that is being orchestrated by the central banks, not in concert perhaps with the Fed. So times are different.
As the Shanghai Metals and Futures Exchange experiences an unprecedented 200% surge in volume over the last 100 days, now surpassing the COMEX, Andy Schectman issues a stark warning about the direction the U.S. government is taking. With global confidence in the dollar rapidly eroding and nations increasingly turning to gold, Schectman suggests we may be on the brink of a massive financial reset. He questions whether this reset will come through a peaceful revaluation of gold or a more chaotic global dumping of dollars and treasuries, an event that could trigger hyperinflation, soaring interest rates, and widespread economic disruption. The signs are pointing to a future where the dollar's dominance is at serious risk. Is this the path we're heading down?
I don't know. I mean, and maybe this is part of the, I mean, I've thought about that. Do they want to reset the system and blame it on a villain, or can they reset it by just jacking up the price of gold? I don't know. One is certainly going to be much less painful to the populace. That would be by revaluing the price of gold. And I think they notice that. They have that certainly within their view, but it just seems that the decisions that our politicians are making are pointing us in a direction of isolation, where the rest of the world has no incentive to hold dollars, has no incentive to hold treasuries. And, I often talk about, you look at the United States as a place that most people growing up around the world have wanted to come and experience the freedom, the integrity of the judicial system. People have left other countries to come to America to, fleeing authoritarian regimes to have, justice, as that's being questioned, the electoral system, well, that's being questioned, the immigration system, that's being questioned, the lawlessness in the cities, the wokeness, everything that's going on in this country. You wonder, where the hell are we? What's happened to this great country? I see what's happening in the streets of the UK. I mean, things are upside down, and things need to change, and things are going to change. And I don't know if it'll be peacefully by revaluing the price of gold globally or not, or of a complete and total reset. You look at the lead economic advisor to the U.S. government, this knucklehead named Jared Bernstein. He advocates for losing the reserve status. It's a privilege we can't afford. You look at the number two, Lael Brainerd, and if, God forbid, this current administration walks into the White House again, she'll be the head of the Fed. She's a modern monetary theorist. She worked at the Fed underneath Powell. She developed the CBDC with MIT. The Boston Fed, she ran Point for Fed Now, which came out 8 months ago, which is a instant settlement system backed by the Fed, like Venmo or Zelle. And, who knows? She would like to see a reset. She would like to issue a CBDC. Maybe they can do it peacefully. I don't know. But to your point about the West not settling anymore, I mean, look at the $4 premium in silver to the LBMA and the COMEX price that we've seen forever on the Shanghai exchange, which over the last 100 days, the volume has increased nearly 200%. And the combined volume of the Shanghai Metals and Futures Exchange now supersedes the COMEX, making it the number two most transacted platform on the planet behind the LBMA. We're beginning to see that these exchanges are getting more and more legitimate. And at some point, the Western system will be viewed for what it is, a Ponzi scheme. You can only manipulate a market or push a market in the direction that it is going for an extended period of time by pushing in the direction it's going. You can't hold back global demand, and especially global demand that is being orchestrated by the central banks, not in concert perhaps with the Fed. So times are different. But these countries now, which back when I started doing this, were many of them third world. are now sophisticated, coordinated, wealthy, and motivated. And they understand they don't need to drop bombs in the United States or in the UK to win. They just need to stand for delivery and buy all of the world's commodities. I saw a report that came out of the UK where the UK said, hey, listen, we're kind of screwed. All of our natural resources, we're reliant on other countries like the BRICS nations. And that's true. And if you look at what's happening right now in the United States, we're selling our treasuries largely to the UK. One broke nation selling their debt to another broke nation, taking the proceeds that we sell our treasuries to you folks for to pay the interest on the debt that's already outstanding and take what little is left extra to buy commodities across the globe from the BRICS nations, who take those dollars and buy gold, which keeps going higher, and gold, which will be the backing of a new system. So they're not buying treasuries, they're not stockpiling dollars. This little by little by little by little, then all at once, it's going to happen. It's logarithmic decay. I don't know what triggers it, but I think it's never been more clear to me that this is a path we are heading on. And is it peaceful through gold revaluation and dollar devaluation, or is it chaotic with an all-out dumping globally of dollars and treasuries, something called Operation Sandman, where they all agree to dump dollars and treasuries at a certain point and blow up the entire system, the byproduct of which would be interest rates spiking to compensate for that hyperinflation, as everyone who's stockpiled dollars for 50 years dumps dollars and they come home. I don't know, but I do know that if you are not a contrarian, you're damn well destined to be a victim. And if you keep all your money in dollars, you're going to go broke. That I do believe. I don't know when, but I think the logic is pretty easy to follow if indeed you pay attention.
10 years ago, an ounce of gold was valued at 140,000 yen. Today, it's a staggering 345,635 yen. Andy Schectman argues that this isn't just gold becoming more valuable. It's the collapse of the currency measuring it. As Western currencies lose global demand, Schectman warns of a massive devaluation and a skyrocketing gold price, potentially spelling disaster for those who don't diversify their assets. With inflation far higher than reported, the real danger lies in keeping your wealth in a currency on the brink of collapse. Could this be the end of the dollar as we know it?
10 years ago, an ounce of gold was 14,000 yen. And today, it's 140,000 yen 10 years ago. Today, it's 345,635 yen per ounce of gold. So did gold get really expensive, or did the currency that it's valued in get clobbered? And that's exactly what will happen to the Western currencies as they lose demand globally and are devalued. So the price of gold will go much higher, but it's not that gold went way higher, is it? Or is it the fact that the currency that is measuring it just got clobbered? And so when you're talking about no more petrodollar demand, which has been the synthetic demand for 5 decades, yeah, gold should go markedly higher in a currency that begins to globally lose complete and total demand and interest for holding it. So, yeah, I think there's no question the price goes higher, but that's not why you buy it. You don't buy it to get wealthy. You buy it because what's going to happen to the currency, and it's massive devaluation. You know, we're told that we're supposed to think that a 2% inflation rate is good. How about a negative 2%? Because the lower the inflation rate, the better the standard of living, the higher the standard of living. And if you believe that we really have 3% inflation here, I got some oceanfront real estate to sell you in Minneapolis. I mean, inflation is way higher than 3%. I wish it was only 3%. And of course, John Williams of Shadow Stats will tell you that inflation is probably 9, 10, 11% in reality. But the Fed and you know the U.S. government has every interest to lie about those numbers to maintain an inflationary path that all politicians have chosen, inflation over austerity, much easier to pay off a debt. And it's funny, you know, I think the reason I want President Trump to be president again is not because I think he can fix all of this stuff. Maybe he can. Maybe he can. I mean, Vance is talking the same way about the World Reserve status as Jared Knucklehead Bernstein is, that maybe it's not a good thing. And they keep talking about devaluing the dollar. Why I want Trump to be president is because I'm sick and tired of the lawlessness and the craziness in this country. We've let 20 million people in illegally. If 5% don't like us, that's 1 million people. That's a standing army. It's real. And just how upside down everything is in this country, the move away from the nuclear family and all of these things that are so important, that is coiled into this whole economic thing too. To talk one without the other is a mistake, because if this country was what it once was when I was a kid, where you respected authority, you held a door for a woman, yes sir, yes ma'am, you know, the nuclear family, where you were valued by your merit, not by your lifestyle, where the elections were never questioned, where the immigration system was something embraced, and it was a really good, amazing thing. If you came into this country, you got through the immigration process, you got your citizenship, you contribute, you assimilate. All of this stuff is upside down, and you look what's happened to our great cities, and the people around the world are saying, what the hell's happened to that country? It's all part of the same thing. So I don't know that either administration, I don't think Trump can fix what we've already destroyed. I think this administration has done more to inflict damage over the last 4 years than any external foe could have done, just by their stupidity. And I mean, I think we need a change for sure. But for me, it's not about economics. I don't know we can fix this. We've gone too far down the rabbit hole. You know, you say $1 trillion every 100 days. That's 31,688 years ago is 1 trillion seconds. That's $100,000 every second. 1, 2, 3, keep on going. And that's how much debt we're burying our children with. And so I don't know that we can get back from that, but God willing, we can at least get some sanity in this country and feel safe again, walking the streets of downtown Minneapolis, downtown Miami, which is better than most, downtown San Francisco, downtown New York City. I mean, really? That's a bigger deal to me, but it is all part of the same problem. And that's why I feel, and I've said for a long time, Andrew, and I don't know how you feel about this, but I feel it's almost too stupid to be stupid.